What's going on, guys? So, welcome to today's question of the day. It comes from John, who asks, can you make a video on daily trading? I'm trying to flip my money while enlisted. So, if you have a question, leave it in the comment section down below. But this was my portfolio back in 2020. At the height of my portfolio, I got to right about 140K and then gave my parents 100K and then used the other 40K to start a business. But basically, this was purely from all the money that I made in the military, right? I came in as E1, saved my money. I came in at 2015 and I started investing at 2017, so almost 2 years later. And then within 3 years, I was able to make 20%, 30% return year over year on my money, eventually get to 120, 140K. And so that's kind of my background on investing. So when it comes to day trading, my personal preference and recommendation is don't, right? I've looked into it. I've worked and chatted with people who are very familiar with day trading. And the thing is, um, if it was a consistent strategy, right, we would have broken the code by now. But here's the thing: it's not, right? When it comes to day trading, what it basically is, in a very simplified way, you're placing bets that certain patterns will play out, and there's like hundreds of people, hundreds of different patterns out there, and you just study the patterns, and based on the patterns, you believe this is going to happen, and you place bets, and that's what's called an R, and you make three R's, and the goal is to at least get two R's, which nets you some return. But if you make at least one, you kind of make portion of your money back. So you basically place three bets, hope two will play out for you to make money. And you do that consistently over X period of time, and you make a lot of money. But here's the thing, it doesn't work out. It doesn't really work out. If day trading was a consistent strategy, we would have millionaire day traders and billionaire day traders. We definitely don't have billionaire day traders, meaning that whatever patterns that people say it's going to work no matter what, don't work no matter what, right? Because if it did, if it was that easy, everybody would be billionaires. There are only a very handful of millionaires, and I've worked with some of them. When I was the chief operating officer of closedeals.com, it's a startup that I helped get to 2.5 mil in our first year. We managed remote company sales teams, right? Because they sold courses, so I managed their sales team. And even then, they were award winning. They were from Italy somewhere. They were award winning company, right? They were award winning because they had certain strategies and playbooks that was actually tested by the government to actually give them awards, right? This was one of the best companies out there. Even then, they had a hard time making sure to like produce like consistent millionaires and put consistent results, right? At the end of the day, it's no different than the stock market. Anything could happen. The thing is, when your strategy of making money is solely on certain patterns playing out, stock market is, yes, there are some elements of like machines and stuff buying and selling in fast pace. But for the most part, it's people. People are influencing the stock prices. So you can never control people. And so it's not a consistent strategy for you to make a lot of money. So personally, for me, it's not something that I would do. So my point is this: if you want to make money, right, flip money, etc., you need to do it slow with certainty to grow over a long period of time. And I have a video on this, how to invest in the stock market. It's basically almost everything that I know, how I like to invest, which is you get involved with the company. Basically, while you have your full-time job as a military service member, your responsibility, if you want to go to the investing route, is you work 40, 50 hours a week in the military and you spend the other 40 hours um, trying to understand the company as if it was your own. Meaning you spend 35 hours just reading annual reports, 10K, 10Q, going and joining in the conference calls, watching interviews about the CEO, understanding their company culture, understanding their business dynamics, understanding the competition. And 5 hours is only spent for just like looking at different companies that you want to invest in. It's a very small amount of time. But you do this work, you develop a level of certainty about this company, about this business, as if it was your own business, as if you knew like the back of your hand how it makes money, then you own it for years. So let me give you an example. um like Disney here, when I had Disney at the time, like I can tell you, Disney, like, do you know how Disney makes majority of their money? It's not parks, right? Parks only are about like 15% of their money. It's not Disney Plus. They actually lose money on that. Merchandise is right about like 3%, and movies are like less than 2% or 3%, something like that. 40% of their money comes from advertisements. What advertisement? They actually own 7 different news stations, and through those news stations, they just sell a lot of advertisements. And so like it's being able to understand that, and who is their CEO at that time, and he's a CEO again. His name is Bob Iger. Bob Iger at the time, the only thing Bob Iger was concerned about was mergers and acquisitions, right? Making sure he can buy great properties and assets to be able to continue the storytelling, right? He was the major factor in ABC merger with Disney. He was a major factor in Pixar selling to Disney, and he later on acquired Fox, Marvel, Hulu, and all these different companies, right? It's like that's how much in depth that you should be able to tell me about the company. But the thing that so many people make a mistake in when it comes to investing in the stock market is they'll own companies like Coca-Cola, for example. People will own just like random companies, and I'll be like, cool, who's the CEO of Coca-Cola? Like, if you invest in the stock market right now, can you list all the CEOs in their companies? And the answer is probably not. Why can't you? You have what, 3 grand, 5 grand in a company, you don't even know who's leading. They could say in the conference calls in the annual report, they could say, well, the only thing that we're concerned about is just keeping up with where we're at. We only want to grow 1%. And this is exactly what happens with people, right? Like in the conference calls, they could literally say, like, hey, our goal for 2024 is to grow by 1%, 2%, meaning that they're only going to grow by 1% or 2% or maybe 3% if they're sandbagging it. But you made that investment decision with a lack of knowledge of saying, like, you know what, their last 52-week high was $100. They're at 52-week low at $50. Maybe later on this year they're gonna go back to their 52-week high back at $100, which is like I'm gonna double their money. They're gonna be doubling their company size, but it doesn't work out that way. That's not a viable investment decision based on what I understand. The CEO only wants to grow at 1 or 2% year over year. So what makes you think that the company size can double, that you can double your investment? See what I mean? And so when it comes to making money, the way I've kind of done it is, or actually how you should make money is, number one, focus on your rank, right? This is something that I wish I had done a little bit more closely. Ranking up is the easiest and the most beneficial in the long term, right? I came in as the E1, and I'll kind of explain that later on, but ranking up fast will help you make more money faster so you can invest more to make more returns. And so I would rather you focus a lot of your time and energy on that compared to just trying to flip your money on a daily basis and looking at your phone every like 5 minutes. That's not a viable strategy, right? Like making rank is a more viable strategy. And so slow down to speed up. What I would do for those of you who are joining the military looking to make some extra money on the side is freelance yourself to develop a certain skill. And I'm emphasizing the word develop, right? You want to learn certain skills such as like video editing, sales, art, right? Creating art, pictures or paintings, photography, wedding photography, or whatever photography. You could even be an admin assistant for online companies, right? You can do that remotely. You can help CEOs, busy professionals organize their emails and stuff like that. You can do a lot of stuff online. When I say that, you want to develop some skills because as you in the beginning, you're going to be paid very little, right? Maybe like a couple bucks per hour. But when it comes to video editing, the better you get, the more knowledgeable you get, then you can start charging instead of, let's say, for example, influencers charge one reel. Instead of $10 per reel, you could charge $20 per reel. And when you work with bigger names out there, you can charge $30 per reel, $40 per reel because the quality is there because you've developed that over time. That is actually a more scalable skill. And so personally for me, what I've done, because when I invested that 40K and invested more, within 3 years, I was able to make right about 250K or right about 300K in that ballpark. I was more of a sales guy. I did freelance sales work, partnering up with companies to be able to help them with their sales process. That's what I did while I was active duty in the military towards the later years. And so I would highly recommend that compared to what a lot of people do, which is more short term. And the short term is not scalable, but it's good money for the short term, which is like a part-time job. You get you do Uber, Grubhub, or work at a store somewhere, etc. That doesn't carry over in the long term. You know what I mean? Like you cannot scale your Uber operation from making, let's say, like $50 per hour to like $1,000 per hour. It doesn't work that way. When it comes to video editing, sales, art, photography, maybe you can do wedding photography while you're active duty in the military. And on the weekend, somebody goes on a wedding. In the beginning, you're only paid like $200 for the weekend, but later on, after you have a body of work and you're pretty good, you could charge like $500, $600 for the weekend, or $1,000 depending on the wedding for the weekend, right? That's what I would much rather you do to make more money and flip compared to day trading. If you want to invest, that's fine. Invest for the long term, but make sure number one, you raise your rank, and number two, you develop a skill where you can over time make a lot of money. And so this is how I got to 140K, right? Joined 2015, started investing then. The mistake, like I said, that I made was I ranked up too slow, right? I came in E1 making $1,400 per month. And each month my goal was to invest $1,000, but like you can only do so much with $1,400. If I was to focus a little bit more on my rank, I would have definitely been able to invest more in the stock market and make more money. And it's a consistent flow of income, right? Instead of, because later on I got to like E5 at my 4th year mark, but I could have been in an E6. With the level of hustle and effort that I put in, I was in the military for 8 years and I'm out now, but I left as an E5. I could have definitely been an E7 with the amount of hustle that I had, and I would have been able to make just as much, but I didn't. And so, for you guys to just learn from my mistake, number one, focus on making rank, then develop a skill to make more money, then invest for the long term. Um, that's the strategy that I would much rather have you do compared to what a lot of you guys are thinking, which is let me go in at the lowest rank and invest a lot of my time and energy trying to flip my money, make money, and getting a part-time job so I can get more money so I can invest. And then let me invest, if I make $1,400 per month, let me invest $1,000 and try to make, like 10% of that. Instead of that, just just try to learn how to make $5,000 per month and try to get 10% of that. It's a lot easier. And so I hope this video gave you a lot of clarity. And so if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. But till next time, peace.